Okay, Thursday, 10th of April 2025. So, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Thoughtful Thursday, philosophy and musings from life. A priori and a posteriori knowledge. Or we could really say reasoning and getting ideas from evidence, empirical evidence, statistics, studies, versus instincts, versus emotions, versus feelings, versus observation. So this is something that really has been on my list of things to talk about for a good while. And recently, a week or so ago, I did a bit of research into this particularly with regards to a project of mine that I'm working on. And it became a lot clearer what these concepts meant. Interesting. I was thinking about it, understanding how to apply this stuff on other projects outside of this video. And then a few days later, or a week or something ago now, I watched an interesting video. And it was this debate on a certain topic. And there was one person on the debate who was very much logical, citing studies and the statistics and data of this thing, and that thing. I thought that makes sense. I agree with that. Okay, interesting results and interesting methodology. Whereas other people on there were talking a lot, but just in general, about their experiences, their mileage. I like to use their life experience. And there was this one statement that the host of the show instead said, it doesn't matter really, just x equals y, and it was an inference, it was a idea that was drawn upon experience, from life experience, mileage, going out into the world and doing stuff, pattern recognition, this and that and that and this, able to deduce together an idea based on what he's seen elsewhere and experienced elsewhere. This situation, what could happen here was this and that and this, or probably this. And it made sense. Now, the person who was very analytical said, oh, I need to see a study about that, data. And I can understand, I can sympathise with his desire for that. But the issue is that incessant need to see the maths, to see the source, was holding him back, because the premise that the person made, x equals y, was very understandable. I mean, you could take a leap of faith. If you know enough things, you could take a leap of faith and agree with that statement, that premise. Yeah, I agreed with it. Interesting. I think this person was held back because he was too logical about it. Needed a study, needed a source, needed a citation, which I can sympathise with. However, it's interesting to note that gulf between someone acting on instinct and coming to conclusions, not looking at studies or the maths behind it, but this equals that. How do you know? Oh, I just have an instinct, a feeling, a life experience is telling me this. Fair enough. But this person was falling straight away for the McNamara fallacy, meaning you're overly relying on maths, numbers, statistics, to the detriment of overlooking the human element of life, the irrationality, the emotionality, the spontaneity of humans. In this world, humans are both logical and irrational, or rational and irrational, and we have to account for the irrationality at times as well, because that's the human nature. You're in business, in life, in society, community. You're dealing with people, and not everyone is going to be logical nor empirical. They're going to be emotional. If they're being emotional, that means inherently they're not using logic to guide their decisions. So even though this person was right in some of the premises and comments he was making in the video, fundamentally they lacked something. They lacked that life experience, whether innocently or not, or just simply not going out of the house, for example, enough. They lacked that ability to take that leap of faith based on their experiences. Meaning, if I know a lot of things about people and society, and I've been to a lot of places, I've done a lot of things, I can draw conclusions just based on what I've seen, i.e. instincts, i.e. I can recognise pattern. Okay, that's happened, so that this probably will happen. How do you know that? Where's the statistics? They need to just look at society, understanding human action. And we can draw conclusions on what could happen in the future, i.e. become the demon. I did a video about this a year or so ago, about understanding the world in great detail. Because this was very good, very logical. Reasoning and rationale on some topics were interesting, looking at the maths. But over here, they were looking at the same problem, same equation, if you will, but answering it and approaching it, the methodology was much more based on their instincts, their life experience. Both are valid, don't get me wrong. Both these methodologies are important. We can't ignore them, just how we can't only focus on the logic, again, McNamara fallacy. We need both. But to understand and recognize where knowledge, ideas, and thoughts and conclusions come from. Is it from instincts and the character and looking at the life experience and mileage? Or is it purely on maths? Really, we need both to have a round view of the world, to have a clear understanding of the world so we can predict it. The more we understand of both, the better. The more we understand the irrational human side of the world by having experiences in it, by doing stuff, going to places, going to events, and the more we understand the first principles of life, the speed of this or the weight of that or the mass of this or the temperature of that, real first principle things of life, the better. And I did a video about this as well. You can't escape first principles. So both are valid. But this person was missing the instincts. He was not able to say, or he didn't really say at all, that yes, that's correct. Again, taking that leap of faith based on his life experience to say, yes, that statement, that premise is actually correct. But he was too held up on, I need a study, I need a source, I need a citation. Interesting. Nothing wrong with that, but that inability to take the leap of faith based on your experiences, living life, mileage, able to draw the same conclusion without needing a citation. This statement, X equals Y over here, the actual statement is irrelevant, but that's powerful. That premise, that statement was very well articulated and very accurate. But this person was unable to make that leap of faith in a very poetic kind of way, but still in some way it is. As in, here's a statement, there's no evidence, no citation, just gut feeling, instincts, just mileage, pattern recognition. This happens, so this might happen. And if they take it or not, I need sources behind that, and that risks holding you back. It's interesting. So I came across this concept and I saw that video, and the principle then is, as I said earlier, like with that video, become the demon. Understand the first principles of life. The first principles, you can't escape them. Understand the world in detail, in many, many ways. The science, the logic, the maths, you name it, the anthropology, the psychology, you name it. But at the same time, live that life. Go out into the world and do stuff. Life experience, mileage. Go to places, because then you will learn things, both ends of the sticks really. You will learn things on both sides. You learn things from a first principle and also on the ground and reality. You come to the conclusion, it bridges together, i.e. that leap of faith is possible. I know enough about this over here, and I know enough about this over here, whereas if there's a statement made over here, and I know enough to make that leap of faith to agree with this statement over here, even though I might not have any citations, or they might not have any citations or sources behind it, but it makes sense based on what I know about the world, people, society, psychology, anthropology, socializing, community, society, etc., etc., etc. I know enough. And that's powerful, because then when it reaches a critical mass of life experience, going into places and doing stuff and learning about the world as it is, not as you want it to be or wish it to be or desire it to be, but as it is, i.e. first principles, i.e. you can't escape from it, the better. The more of these both we understand, the better. Meaning we can go out into the world and do, create, have, achieve, you name it, the things we want, easier, because we know how things are. We know how things work. That's powerful. And then when someone makes that statement over here, X equals Y, we are smart enough, and also in some ways humble enough even, depending on knowledge and all the rest, to agree with it and not fight against it and be stuck only in one side, stuck only in this side, and not being rounded enough. And when we're not round enough, we are holding ourselves back. It's quite powerful. Very, 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 very powerful. Very powerful. Judging and reasoning and acting on logic, and you could say instinct, mileage, life experience. They're both vital. They're so vital, otherwise we won't be talking about them by definition. But that's an interesting little observation I made. A very powerful way to understand life. But otherwise, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Subscribe for more, and you will see me tomorrow.